Monday webinar. We have stopped doing the elite webinar at 2 o'clock, and we're just doing the webinars now on Mondays at 5 o'clock. The thing about the elite is we're going to have a live trading room for elite members, so that's why we stopped the webinar, because we're going to have it every day for elite traders. All right, so the markets were closed today, and they'll be closed tomorrow. And let's take a look at the S&P 500. Number of different scenarios, but the first thing is, I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot. The problem is the market's counterintuitive. But my sense is the market hates Obama. If Obama is elected president on November 6th, I think the next day you're going to see a huge sell-off in the market. If Romney's elected, I think you're going to see a huge rally. Now, the problem with that thinking is sometimes the market does the exact opposite of what you think it will do. So we'll see. But between now and next Tuesday, and of course we don't have a trading day tomorrow, so we'll start on Wednesday. Between Wednesday and Tuesday, I don't know if you want to be aggressive in the market, because who the heck knows what's going to happen. If you look at a chart here of the S&P 500, it looks to me like we're in a wave 2 down. Wave 1 goes to here, wave 2 goes to here, wave 3 is going to go to here. Your MACD is on a sell, your ADX is on a sell. It doesn't look good. And 1420, 1425 is major resistance. So let's see how it goes on Wednesday, but it looks to me like we're setting up for a wave down. Now, the other thing is you've got Doji and Doji. Well, Doji's after a sell-off could indicate a change in direction. So that could happen too. So it all depends on the price action on Wednesday. But it looks to me like we're going lower in the short term on the S&P 500. And by the way, if we get a sell-off, either Obama's elected, we get a big sell-off, I'm a buyer after the sell-off. If the market sells off in front of the election, I'm a buyer, because the market will be telling us Romney's going to win. So, but I've never seen in my life such a wide disparity between the left in this country and the right. There's like no middle. Whatever happened to the middle? I thought that's what made us great, the compromise, being in the middle. It's like people hate each other now. I don't know. It's really difficult to figure out. Now, you know, you've got this situation, the fiscal cliff, okay? Larry's saying T-Rex was down 3 cents on the Toronto Exchange. It was up as high as 6 cents. Well, first off, you know, the U.S. exchange I don't think will open until Wednesday. It seems like people have been waiting for this announcement. And I talked to the hedge fund guy, we're talking about T-Rex, and he said that, oh my God, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do a joint venture. This thing has the potential in 2 years of being a $10 stock, blah, blah, blah. Here's my attitude. My attitude is, if there's liquidity, if there's volume in, you know, between now and the end of the week, and hopefully it goes up, I would be a seller. I would sell into it, because I don't trust microcaps. Plus, a lot of my clients have bought it at 60 cents. If you sell it at 90, you got a 50% return. How many times have you gotten a 50% return in your life? Now, my attitude is we sell it between 90 cents and $1. I'm hoping it gets there. And then if it takes out $1.25, we get back in. You know what I mean? But definitely sell some. because what happens is with these microcaps, you have to use liquidity, lots of liquidity to get out. But it's obviously really good news that they got the permits, and they actually got 6 permits. Okay, so S&P, that's what that looks like. Let's look at the dollar. Because if the dollar goes up, the market goes down. And the dollar looks like it's setting up. It's below the 50, but this looks like a bottoming formation. And if it takes out 22, it should go all the way up to here. So MACD's on a buy. So I think the dollar is going to, it's got to break through 22. We close at 21.93. But if the dollar gets above its 50, look out, man. Market could get really hit. Let's look at oil, because oil was down today because lack of demand, because of the hurricane, but natural gas was up. I don't know why. But look at the USO, the United States Oil Fund. This too is a gap down, goes sideways. Guess what happens next? ADX sell, straight to trends moving up, MACD sell. I think oil is going lower based on this. Wave 1, 2, 3. We're below the 50. It's ugly. Unless you get a gap up, this thing looks lower. That means oil's going lower. Let's look at gold, GLD. Now, one thing I found, this is a little weird. GLD looks like it's lower. It's below the 50. It's on a sell signal. It's on a sell signal. But when I pulled up the charts on some of the gold stocks, they didn't look terrible. Let's look at some of them. They actually looked okay. Not this one, but this is okay. This one's at the high. This one pulled back. RIC no good. Well, to be quite honest, they don't look so good anymore. But IAG is not bad. But my point is, the charts were ugly. Many of the charts that I looked at. And the gold and silver look decent. But the problem is, I've got a sell signal on silver. The SLV. This looks like a sell to me. Large candle through the 50. Next stage tried to get through the 50, couldn't. Gap down, went sideways, bounced up, did a doji, did a bearish engulfing. This looks like, boy, the pressure's on the silver to go down. And that's why I'm in the DSLV. Because if silver goes down, this thing's going up to 32.50. It's going up 8 points. At least $30. So, I don't know. I mean, you held the 50 on Friday, and this is actually a bullish engulfing. Doji followed by an update. So let's see what happens to silver on Wednesday. If it goes lower, we're in good shape. Those of you who followed me into the DSLV. And by the way, if you guys have questions or crystal ball readings you'd like me to go over, just put them in the question box, and I will get to them as quickly as possible. Okay? By the way, Art, did you get what you needed on the Boyle, USG, and SkyWest, SKY? One of the master members, or elite members, emailed me. He's 3 positions, 1,000 shares of Boyle, 1,000 shares of USG, and 2,000 shares of SKYW. And basically I told him he's got a big profit in SKYW, take it. The USG I'm holding because I'm hoping that their business increases because of the storm. They're a building materials company. And the oil, I'm a little concerned about the natural gas. We had a big rally in UNG, and all of a sudden they kind of lost it. You know what I mean? So you got to get going again. So if I get a bounce in oil on Wednesday or Thursday, I'll probably come out. Okay. Let's see. Let's do some of the, well, a couple things before I do some of the stocks. Number one, we're almost through with the earnings season. And earnings have been disappointing, particularly in technology. And stocks trade on interest rates and earnings. And then throw in one other thing, money supply. You know, the Fed's printing like crazy. And by the way, one of the negatives if Romney is elected president is he doesn't agree with Bernanke and his flooding the world with liquidity. He doesn't agree with it. And a lot of people don't. So he's not going to reappoint Bernanke. So the uncertainty of who is going to become the next Fed chairman, and will they still maintain that put under the market? Because everyone knows that every time the market sells off, the Fed or the plunge protection team comes in and buys stocks. That's the Fed probably. Maybe under a new chairman, we don't do that anymore. So that uncertainty is a little scary. I mean, this is going to be one of the biggest and most important elections in a long, long time. Number one, what about health care? Number two, what about taxes? I mean, do you know that dividend income is taxed at a 15% rate right now? It's going to go to ordinary income under Obama if they let the Bush tax cuts expire. So right now on your dividend income, you get 85% tax-free. That's awesome. But under Obama, it will all be ordinary income. So there's so many things that are going to change, income tax-wise, capital gains tax-wise. The uncertainty is incredible. But also, how about this one? Supreme Court justices. There are going to be 4 Supreme Court justices whose terms come up or they're retiring in the next 4 years. And you know how this court is like split. It's kind of right-wing, the court, conservative, really conservative. So if Obama gets elected, he's going to appoint liberal Supreme Court justices, which will throw the tone of the Supreme Court to being liberal. If Romney's elected, he's going to go conservative with his selection, and the Supreme Court will get more conservative. So that's a huge difference. So this election is huge. Not to say if the Republicans can take back the Senate. The House is securely in the hands of the Republicans. But can they take back the Senate? It's going to be a great election night. I can't wait. It's kind of like a football game. All right, this is from John. Hey, Wiz, can you look at O, which is a 4.6% dividend stock? It's called Realty Income. Okay, here's all. Okay. This is a retail real estate investment trust. First off, it doesn't pay enough, 4.6. Secondly, look at this, 10.9 days of shorts. That's high. That means a lot of people are shorting the stock. Now, we've talked about short interest before. 8 or higher is bullish if the stock is trading near highs. This stock is trading near lows. So we always say if there's a big short interest and the stock is trading near highs, the shorts are wrong, and they're going to cover. And you're going to get a short squeeze, and this stock's going to go up great. But if the stock is sitting near its lows, the shorts are right, and they're not going to cover. So this is a really bad-looking chart. It broke down, actually did a hammer at the 200-day. The ADX is on a huge sell signal, MACD sell. If this thing, because of this tail, it should bounce this week when we open. When you have a big tail to the downside, what happens? You go the opposite direction. But this is a tail to the downside, so you should pop on this one, but I would get out of Dodge. I would totally. This thing is rolling over, looks terrible. There's something wrong. And by the way, this is a perfect head and shoulders. Left shoulders, head, right shoulders, breakdown. Head and shoulders are bearish. All right, Doug wants to know, how does Deckers make 12 cents a share on Thursday, and the next day it declines by $7? Well, first off, take a look at the chart on Deckers. Okay? Here's a stock that in February was $90. It closed at $30 on Friday. So do you think price leads news? Do you think these people all the way down knew there was going to be bad news? This is why we say if a stock's in a downtrend, you don't want to own it. You don't. Because it means bad news is coming. So, you know, how much they make is irrelevant. Look at Amazon. Amazon came out with earnings, same day Apple did, Thursday afternoon, and they lost like, I don't know, what did they lose? A big number. They lost a big number. And the stock went up 15 points. So it's really not about the number, because you and I have no idea what it means. They play games, they manipulate. Do you know that 20% of corporate America cheats on their earnings? 20% put up bogus numbers just like the Chinese. So how the heck are we going to know, is it bogus, is it real, is it Memorex? And that's our whole point around let's do the charts. Smart money, other people out there in the universe know so much more about this stock than you and I do. So we can use their knowledge. How? By looking at the trend of the stock, by looking at whether it's on a buy or sell signal. See, this stock, for me, went on a sell signal when it broke the 50. But the point is, when we go back to Deckers, for example, smart money knew that this company's losing more money or making less money, and that's why it's been going down, down, down. So all we have to do is take a picture of this chart, and we know news is coming bad. So how do they make 12 cents? Maybe the stock was selling at 100 times earnings, and 12 cents wasn't enough. But certainly the chart told us what was going to happen with this stock. Okay, Todd wants to know, Wiz, could you show me what the sell signal looks like on MACD and the ADX? Or buy signal? Okay. Let's go to USG, US Gypsum, one of my favorite stocks, if it rallies on Wednesday. Okay, so I've got to move these things. Okay, this window is the ADX. Let me take out the stochastics, just for here. Delete stochastics. Okay. So the ADX is this window, Todd, and the MACD is this window. And again, we have a green line, red line, Green line is plus DMI, red line is minus DMI, and the strength of trend is this yellow line. In MACD, we just have two, at least I have two lines, the green and the red. So, for me, when the MACD crosses, the green crosses the red, like here, it's a buy signal. ADX, when the green crosses the red, it too is a buy signal. So notice on this stock, USG, early March, we went on an ADX buy and a MACD buy. But what happened was it then went on a sell and a buy and a sell. So it goes into this chop. And this probably isn't a great example because there's so much chop. But this is a MACD buy. This is a MACD sell. The green line crosses below the red, and what happens? Boom. You go from 20 to 16 in about 2 days. We were foretold or forewarned by this sell signal here. The ADX was still on a buy signal. So the MACD was actually before the ADX. But this is a sell signal. This is a sell signal. This is a sell signal. When the green crosses below the red. So does that answer it, Todd? Cool. Okay. If there are no more crystal ball readings, let me go through some of the stocks. I had 4 categories this week: longs, shorts, income and growth, and ETFs. So pick your poison. Let's go through some of the longs. And again, if you guys have questions or want a crystal ball reading, just put it in the question box. SVU. Now, I have this one under income, but I found out today they suspended their dividend. It's a grocery store. I thought it was 11.6%, so I'm going to scratch that from my dividend yield. But this is a very interesting chart. Large open candle through the 50. That's the first thing. Very bullish. Now we're going sideways. That's a wave 2. Wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3 should get up to this 450 level. So you could have a 50% return on this guy. ADX is perfect. Look, buy signal, plus your strength of trend is going straight up. MACD looks good, and you got big volume on this large open candle. And by the way, your stop on this stock is halfway down this candle. So let's figure where that is. So it was up 98 cents. So that's 49. You take half of that, 49, subtract it from the closing price. So that's $3.32.68. $2.68. So 268 is where your stop is. All right? 268. But this looks very interesting, you know, for a 50% return. Charlie wants to know about Wynn Casino, WYNN. It's a tough one because it, you know, came all the way down and now it's rallying, but it failed at the 500. And the moving averages are all messed up. The 500, the 200, above the 50, not supposed to be like that. So they gapped it up on Thursday on huge volume. ADX is on a buy. MACD is on a buy. Just getting on a buy. But I think you have to take this out. I don't like the casino stocks. Let's look at some of the others in the sector. But I don't think the charts look good. Blue Green Corp, Boyd Gaming below the 50, MPEL not bad if it can take out 14 3/4. Wynn, Isle not good below the 50. Carnival Cruise, yeah, they have casinos on there. Vail, where do they get resorts and casinos with Vail? That's a weird one. MGM, Caesars, terrible. Empire, Las Vegas Sands. Actually, Las Vegas Sands looks interesting if it could take out this number here. This looks like the best of all. Because if it takes out this number, it could head back to $60. But not until it takes out 48. So I don't like when. Until it takes out the 500, which is at 121.70. We close at 118.97. So you got to take out 121.70. Okay. Let me do some more of the weekly watch list. And again, if you guys have questions or crystal ball readings, just put them in. This is probably my favorite pattern of the week. Southern Copper Corp. Copper. Now, when I look at copper, CU, it doesn't look that great. But when I look at this chart, SCCO, I'm in love. First off, it's an all-time record high. Oh, no, it's not. The all-time record high is 50. 37. But look at this weekly, and you just broke out. Look at your ADX on the weekly. Look at the strength of trend. Look at the MACD. So the weekly looks great. Let's look at the daily. Same story. The ADX looks great. And, you know, we went on a buy signal, by the way, here with the ADX. The problem with the MACD, it goes on a buy signal and a sell signal. And a buy signal, a sell signal. So it's a little bit inconsistent. But anyway, this is hitting new highs. I'm not sure about this 29%. Someone's going to have to figure this one out if they really are paying a 29% dividend. But this chart looks so good. Now, if the dollar rallies later this week, they'll probably take commodities down. Now would be a good time to buy this one on a pullback. But I love this chart. Love, love, love. Another one, Taser. I got to figure out a way to get in this stock because I believe it's going a lot higher. A lot higher. Let's look at the weekly. Okay, on the weekly, you took out this high. So anything above 8, and you go 10, 12. And we're above 8. So this one looks like it's got a lot more to go, even though it had a huge day on Friday. That was because of earnings. I think this stock's in play. And I just got to figure out a way I can get in it. Another one that came up, an oil and gas play, Cabot, COG. In general, the oil and gas stocks don't look that good. Matter of fact, oil's down today because the demand is going to fall for people, you know, needing oil. But anyway, this is a breakout. MACD looks good. ADX looks good. It came out of nowhere, by the way. Let's look at the weekly. This is what's cool about COG. Never been here before. What's going on? They got something cooking because this is a new all-time record high. How many stocks are hitting record highs? And look at the volume on Friday. Look how huge the volume was on the breakout. That is bullish. And the breakout was also a gap through the 50. That's one of our favorite patterns. So COG looks very, very interesting. W breakout. Another stock, POL. This is Poly One Specialty Chemicals. 8 days of shorts. 1875 up 54 cents. Again, all systems go here. Let's see another all-time record high play. POL. All right, Grant wants to know about BWEN, gapped up but fell, bounce off the moving average. BWEN. Ugh. Well, first off, this tail, remember, when we get tails like this, they normally go in the opposite direction in the short term. I love the ADX. Strength of trend looks good. MACD's rolling. That's not good. You got to hold the 50 here. But even if you hold the 50, look at all the resistance here, here, and here. You got to get through all that stuff. Plus the 200 is above us. And it traded 56,000 shares. You really don't want to be in a stock that trades 56,000 shares. If you have to sell, especially a low price stock, if you have to sell, they're going to rip you. They won't let you out unless it goes a lot lower. And by the way, I've been hearing from master members, never ever buy with a market order. You can sell with a market order, but only on liquid stocks. This stock, you can't sell. The only way you can sell this is hit the bid. And try to, hopefully there are people at the bid. But never a market order to buy or sell unless the stock trades a lot of volume. Grant, I think this is an opportunity cost. I would not be in this stock. I just don't see it. Remember, date your stocks, don't marry them. Okay, another on the list, MDF. Oh, I know what I was going to say. There was an income stock that we were talking about earlier, a mortgage stock. What was that? I'll get it. Oh no, I have to go through all these guys? Sorry about that. Blue-green. Okay. Not USG, not Deckers. Oh, Realty Income. Paying 4.6% and the chart's not so great. If you want income, I've got the ETF for you. Or maybe it's not an ETF. MPW. This is one of my favorites. This is Medical Properties Trust. It's healthcare facilities. Now, number one, they own or lease healthcare facilities. This has got to be a great business. The aging of America, what are we going to do with our parents? What are we going to do with us when we get older? It's got to be a mega trend. So I love that. Plus, it pays 7%. Now, it's a little bit overbought short term and it's pulling back, but this looks really interesting to me on a long-term basis for income. And actually, I was reading Barron's this weekend, and one of the top money managers, hedge fund dudes, loves the stock. Now, that's not always great, but sometimes it is. Gary, sorry I'm late. If you've showed UVXY, do not do it again. I'm thinking about taking a position when the market opens again. All right, here's the problem with the UVXY. And I talked with, we had Pete Nigerian on the Business for Breakfast this morning. He's really great. And he's an expert at options. And he does not trade the UVXY. And I asked him why. And he said because they have this reset provision using futures that are very expensive to roll out and roll in, that it's kind of a wasting asset. You cannot own the UVXY over a period of time because it will go down and down and down. because of the cost of rolling over. And you're really not investing in anything. So I believe you can play the UVXY for 2 or 3 days and make a lot of money because it's very volatile. But if you're in the UVXY, please keep it to 3 or 4 days max. I'm just telling you. So if you want to get in the UVXY, you know, this is a play on the VIX. Let's look at the VIX. Level of fear. Boy, look at that sell signal. Look at this tail. Went down. This looks like it's going lower. And that means UVXY low. So be careful on this guy. Now, the question is, how do we play a market sell-off? I think that's what Gary's looking for. And I don't think the UVXY, it's too scary, it's too tough. You can day trade it, you can buy it for 2 or 3 days if your timing is right. But let's look for something else. For example, one of the ETFs on my list was the SQQQ. Now we've had a huge down move. This is shorting the quadruple Qs, 2 to 1. We've had a big down move in the Qs during this month, and look how much this thing's going from like 35 to 42. So it's going up 20%. It can get up to here, 42 to 46. Let's look at the TZA. Again, I'm looking for something that will give us movement if the market sells off. At least the TZA is above the 50-day moving average. It's got a large open candle through the 50. And that's good because we normally see a stock that has a large open candle to the 50, 2 weeks to 2 months later, it's up 20 to 30% at least. Look at AFI. This is one of my favorite non-random patterns. Right here, back in early July. Okay? What happened? Early July, we had a gap, a large open candle. You had a large open candle through the 50. And then we say, well, when this happens, if it doesn't come back below the 50, it should be up 20 to 30%. So it goes from 14 to 28. It goes up 50%. So this large open candle through the 50 is a really important pattern. It's a good pattern. So on TZA, you got that. If this holds above the 50, this should go up to 19, 18 and a half, 19, and maybe 20. So maybe 4 points. But again, I can't get too excited. I don't know. You know, it doesn't look like the market's going to crash based on these guys. But I don't know. The thing about the UVXY is it gives us so much movement in such a short period of time. So if we're right, we make 3 or 4 points in a day or 2. That's the only way to play the UVXY. 1 to 2 days. All right, let me go back to some of the stocks. SPRD. This is an interesting technology play. It broke out on Friday. As you notice, as you guys know, I like stocks in movement. I don't want to sit there and wait 3 months, 5 months. I feel that's opportunity cost. So here's a stock that broke out above 22. The ADX is on a buy. MACD is on a buy. Everything looks good. And I think you can get up to 26 and a half, 27. And you're at 22.70. There's 4 points. 20%. Here we go. Okay. Wiz, do you still like VHC? Thinking of buying in Wednesday if I can get a pullback. I've been buying under 27 and selling over 30 for a couple of months. Yeah, I love VHC if it can hold this level here. This is very important. Let's look at it. It's got to hold 30. Now this is a play on patent. They're suing Microsoft and Apple. If they get a positive result, if Apple wants to buy them out, this stock could go back to $40. This is a very bullish pattern, like this, W, breakout. But it did this, and it was down. So I still like it, but I would wait for it to hold 30. See if it can hold 30, Frank. Now, you say when it goes to 27, you buy it. Long term, I think something very big will happen for this company. But it's very volatile. You know, in the middle of August, it's $22. They run it up to 30. Life is good. Back to 24. Run it up to 30 and a half, 31, 32. So that's a new high. That's bullish. And I've got it in my lead trader account, both of them, my IRA and my trading account. So I'm hoping it holds this. Look at the 21, just trying to get above the 50. That's important. And yes, my price target is right up in here. But it's going to happen in 2 or 3 days. I know how this stock trades. It's like this. So in 3 days, it went from 23.5 to 32. 8.5 points in 3 days. That's how the thing goes. It's scary, though. All right, Steve wants to know about MOTR. Let's look at MOTR. This is probably good for headaches. Wow. Oh, is this the Texas Instruments spinoff? Well, just looking at the chart, I hate 73-cent stocks, okay? But just looking at the charts, MACD buy, ADX buy, you're going to have a problem getting through 80 cents. But once you get through 80 cents, you can get all the way back up to $1.20. So 50 cents is your target. That's 70%. That could work. It's just you have to buy so many shares to make it worth it. But this is totally a breakout off a bottoming pattern. Stocks in a downtrend. Stocks in a downtrend, downtrend. All of a sudden, it stops going down. Now it breaks out to the upside. So this is a bottom. And who knows? All right, let me go through some others. FSLR. Keep your eye on this. This is the #1 solar stock in America. And this stock was as high as, well, in 08 it was $300. But just this year, it's gone from 50 down to 23. But I'm looking at this thing like it is consolidating, and it is building a pattern that if it ever takes out 26, right in here, it's going to 30 and then 37. But at first it has to take out this number, 2631. I'm telling you, this thing's building like a triangle or a wedge. It's been acting great. Here's part of the wedge. Here's the other part. So it's building this wedge, and at the tip, they either go up or down. We have no idea. Right now it's on a buy signal. but it's kind of flattened out. But if this thing takes off, it has lots of room to go. FSLR. And if people start getting excited about solar, this is the stock the institutions are going to buy. So keep your eye on it. 2613. Another one, well, I mentioned the SQQQ. This is one way of playing a market sell-off, if we get one. But I'm kind of stretching here. Doesn't look that great. The last one on my aggressive growth, oh, I know, WAC. WAC is Walter Investment Management. This is a mortgage investment, but look at this breakout. You know mortgages are going to be big, the mortgage business, with refinances and all that stuff. Never been here before. WAC, it's got room to get up to $100. ADX kind of peaked out. I don't like the strength of trend line is going down. MACD went up. So you might get a pullback, but this, keep your eye on this one. One that came up on the radio tonight, you know, we're talking about the storm and one way of playing it. I don't know if it's done yet, but this Generac Holdings, they make generators. Your business is probably exploding today. But look at the chart. Everything's all systems go. Trades enough volume. Never been here before. Who knows where this thing can go? You know? Now, I wonder if it's buying on the news, which is always a bad thing. You know, did people anticipate the need for generators and they took it up from 25.5 to 28.5? Well, that's only 10%. But you know their business is going to be great for this quarter, the fourth quarter. And the market's about the future. This is from Gary. I dislike FSLR because I dislike VHO. But, Obama. But if he gets elected, it could go. Exactly. So here's the deal. If Romney's elected, there's a certain set of conditions that should happen. First of all, the market will rally because he's for lower taxes. He's also for coal. So the coal stocks would go crazy. The one I like is ACI, although I don't like these tails. So don't buy them now. If Obama's elected, coal goes down. Obama hates coal, but he loves solar. So what Gary's saying is this would be a play if Obama's elected. And I agree with you. I think that's right on. You know, let's try to figure out beforehand what are good plays if Obama's reelected or what are good plays if Romney is elected. And then when it happens, we'll be prepared and we'll take advantage. And I think Gary's right on. If Romney's elected, coal. If Obama's elected, solar. And there's got to be other situations like this. All right, let me go through a couple of shorts. I've been saying don't short this market. But some of these stocks have gotten absolutely destroyed. TIBX, it took out the lows. This thing can get all the way down to here, like $18. It's 25. At least 20. So you could, you know, look, ADX sell, MACD sell, below the 50. Ugh, this thing's ugly. Software. Another short, and I don't know if it's too late for this one, ISIS, but this is a weekly. The daily looks like wave 1, wave 2, somewhere comes wave 3. And it will go down to like $4. Look at the big selling volume, MACD. But this was your sell signal here. It tried to get through the 50 here, failed. And then it gapped down on huge volume. This is a perfect gap down, huge volume, wave 2. Here comes wave 3. You know, why can't, you know, Mankind did this. Mankind, when everyone was going crazy, was up to $10, 2011. Then it had this, went down, and now it's $1.87. So why can't ISIS do the same thing? Another short is a restaurant stock, BJ's. We actually have one of these in Boulder. You know, restaurants have been getting killed, restaurant stocks. BJ's, look at this. I mean, gap down on huge volume, ADX is sell, MACD is sell, and there's 17 days of shorts, which means the shorts are right. When it's on lows, the shorts are right. Let me look at a weekly. So this one can come all the way down to 25, and it's 32, and maybe even the 500. This one has more to go on the downside. Dow futures are down 75 points. Is this just the storm? If the storm damage is not too bad, could this reverse a lot before the market opens? Absolutely. First off, the market's closed tomorrow. So the futures, whatever they're doing today, mean nothing. And even tomorrow night, you know, I'm always looking at the futures at night. It doesn't mean anything. The next day they change on a piece of information, news, economic news. But certainly the market is down because of the storm, I think. Although the storm is going to help a lot of companies like U.S. Gypsum, you know, companies that are in the rebuilding, roofing companies. We talked on the show tonight about this company, BECN. Beacon Roofing, come on. You don't think they're going to be doing a land office business? And it's never been, this is a high, all-time record high. This looks really good. And here's another problem. Look how the shorts, 14 days. If this thing pops, those shorts are going to be forced to cover. Short squeeze. So again, another play maybe for the, if you're quick, for the storm. But the fact that the Dow futures are down 75, I mean, sure, the market might be nervous about the storm. But that's just a temporary thing. My sense is it will gap down on Wednesday and then rally back. So it's not the opening price, it's the closing price, and I think they'll bring it back. People will kind of freak out, they'll sell everything, and then the market will rally back. The last short is Beazer Homes. We've had a monster run in these housing stocks, but Beazer Home, well, it went from 12 to 20. That's good. But now you've got a large dark candle through the 50. This is a sell signal. ADX is on a sell. MACD is rolled over. Big volume. You're definitely going down to here, but if you break this, 200 and the 100, you're going down to about 12. So I'd be a little careful on the housing stocks. And this one actually, Beazer looks like a short. Okay, let me go over some growth and income stocks. We've got a little time left. NCT, Newcastle. This one's been good for a while. It pays 10.7%. It's got a great chart pattern. It's industrial REIT. Look at that. New high. Beautiful, beautiful. Another growth and income is PPR. What's this? This is prime rate trust. It's a closed-end bond fund, but there's something about, I think the yield adjusts. Anyway, 6.8%. Check that one out because it's got a great pattern. The last one is RAS. This is Rate Financial Industrial, again, REIT. Pays 6.5%, 13 days of shorts. The shorts are wrong. It's rallying. ADX looks good. MACD looks good. Volume's increasing. This looks very interesting. At 6.5% while you wait. But this is definitely a breakout. Okay, let me just look at a couple of ETFs. SRS. This is the short 2-to-1 real estate. This one looks like it's trying to break out. It's got to take out this right up in here, like 26.75. But if it does, it goes to 28.5. So keep your eye on this one as a hedge against the market falling. Another DSLV. You know, I'm really into this one heavy. It's above the 50. The reason I like this, well, first of all, I love the ADX and the MACD and the volume. You're above the 50. But the real reason I like this is the SLV. This shorts the SLV. The SLV is on a big sell signal for me. ADX sell, MACD sell, below the 50, large dark candle. You rally up to a doji, bearish engulfing. So if you take out the 50 on SLV, I'm going to cover the other guy. But I think you have a run coming down, a move coming down. It could get down to 27, which means our DSLV could explode. But again, the DSLV has to hold above the 50, and the SLV has to stay below the 50. Okay? It's really important. And, you know, someone asked me today, hey, Wiz, the stock, 2 stocks sold off on Friday below his stop. Should he sell on Wednesday? And my attitude is, give it a couple days. Because a lot of times the high-frequency traders and the market makers fool us by taking stocks below certain levels. And people get stopped out. Everyone sells. The high-frequency traders buy. And then they run it back up. So my attitude is it's got to stay below the stop price or the 50-day at least 2 days. I know it's risky if the stock continues to go lower. So you got to be quick on the draw if it does. But I don't want to get faked out either. So like on the DSLV, if they take this below the 50, I'm going to wait a couple days before I sell it. This looks to me like a doji after a sell-off, bullish engulfing. If Wednesday this is up, that could be bullish. My fingers are crossed. Hey, Wiz, I'm short Apple at 580. Do you think Apple can stay above 580 till November 17th? November 17th. Can Apple stay above 580? Well, you know, that's a good question. Because really, wave 1 goes from 700 to 6.25. Wave 2 goes sideways. Wave 3 goes from 6.25 to 550. So that would be my target if it does its wave count. So you're asking me if it can stay above 580 until November 17th? No idea. I'd say the odds are good because the 200-day moving average is at 587. And 575, you've got major support. So I'd say there's probably 65% probability it stays above 580 between now and November 17th. But again, this is all about probability of outcome. We have no guarantees. We have no idea what's going to happen. We can just look at the probabilities and place our bets based on those probabilities. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go watch Monday Night Football. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. I'll do a daily market commentary tomorrow, as well as a video, but there's not going to be a lot going on. And then tomorrow night we do the radio show as well. All right? So have a great night, and may the stock market gods be with you.